Welcome to the SF Flavor Show, where we savor for flavor. And on today's episode, we have a special guest, Antoine. He is going to tell you his type first, and then we'll get around to what's going on.
Sure. Audio, NITI, sleep blast, consuming playlist. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So if you guys can put two and two together, you can tell he's my complete opposite. Maybe I'm the light, he's the dark, I'm black, he's white. You see how it works. And so we're just going to have a little bit of a talk about our previous episode where we learned more about Emmanuelle's blast. So open floor, guys. What did you think? What did you feel about it?
Who's gonna start? Should
Open
I
floor.
start?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, I
For sure.
just freaked out everyone with an observer freak out that I just did have. So I don't know if it will matter on the feedbacks. Please love me again.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a bad review. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So to give clarity to the people watching, we had a little bit of technical issues about observer schedules and such, which
I just
yeah. So Emmanuel wasn't too happy about it. We're going to adapt as we go. So we just done all the nice chemicals, got them nice and even, but there's some FI chemicals to come later after the show, but it's all good.
They're coming in hard. I'm joking.
Okay, so yeah, let's get back to it. So what did you guys think or feel?
So I'm gonna start because I can. I think that we actually covered a lot of depth of the SF Blast that we don't usually see, I don't know, in the class. And once again, I realized that I understand less about this particular animal than I thought before. And what was particularly interesting to me is I don't have a conclusion about it or a clear pattern, but you were talking about asking people, almost kind of pressuring them into helping you with something for the sake of other people who are worse off than them, to just kind of restore the balance. And that is something that I've never heard anyone talk about, and I thought it was super interesting, and I can't wait to learn more about it. It just seems like such a specific thing, and it was great information for my personal consume.
Well, I found it particularly interesting as, you use OI, FE together to get things done, where I use OE, FE. And so upon my life, I thought about the people who have got me to do things where they've used the language of FE. And then it makes me think about, if you naturally get on with them, then I'm like, it doesn't bother me as much. But if you really don't get on with them and you feel like they're trying to kind of shame you into it, I can see the friction. Whereas you, Emmanuel, we get on pretty well. So I kind of feel like I am the chaotic father stereotype, playing with the kids, having craziness, whereas you're the one who's like, okay, we've had our fun, let's do this and let's do that, which also leads me to go, I didn't think to use SF in that way. So it's like learning new skills to bring to the table. Yeah, everyone's
Yeah, basically, I'm kind of the same thought as both of you. It's so foreign to me, that version of Blast, because it has no similarities with any of my functions. So it's the most removed for me, and it's one of those, hearing you talk about how you use your Blast and what the purpose is. It's one of those things like, oh, actually, people really do actually need this. Nobody in my circle or nobody in kind of my function stack is doing that kind of thing. And it was just kind of nice to see kind of the altruistic nature of it and sort of the caring side of it. And I definitely do think it's an animal that is needed. But it was just one of the, I don't have any conclusion on this, but it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh wow, I'm really not doing this, and I don't know anybody else who's doing this. So it was it was nice to was nice to see. It was nice to hear, and it's I would like to see more of that being used in real time, just so I can see what it actually looks like. But as you were kind of sharing, it just felt like a foreign language to me. So yeah, that was really interesting.
Okay, and last one before we move on, Emmanuel, do you have any thoughts about the episode yourself? As sometimes, when you talk, things kind of tinker in the head.
Can you say again this question?
So, did you discover anything that you'd never previously thought about while you were discussing how you SF blast, or anything refined in your head?
I'm gonna sleep on that. No, I don't think now I want to think about what Maria just said, but it is something that I want to think of most of the time. It's really when you don't speak the same language and you are in a foreign language, but you're not because you're like human beings and we speak English, like how this cognitive language impacts our daily connections and relations, and how can we overcome and know how to have a translator in ourselves. I think OP helps a lot with that, but we don't really we can have a place of understanding that we don't speak the same language, but we still don't have any translator somehow. And I think it is something that will, I'm interested in.
Oh.
Really. Like, I know communication is hard, but show me how it's hard and let's try to see how we can work on it.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So we're going to do a little quick shout out. We said we wasn't going to do it, but one did pop to my head because I was thinking in the comments. Lijo said we're all perfect, which I already knew that, but it's nice to know you guys do know it. So that's the one shout out. There was another person which I've forgotten, but thank you for commenting on the YouTube channel. It's much appreciated. So now we're actually going to get started with the main episode where the overview is basically about I am SF Play Savior. Antoine is SF Play Last. So the whole idea is we wanted to see what it's like and what someone who has it as a demon, how they think and feel about it, how it just goes on in their life. So Antoine, we're going to get straight into it. The first question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to read it because it's not in my head, is what's one idea you originally had wrong about your interpretation of SF Play?
What I was wrong, you mean? I think it took me probably 2 years to triangulate what was I'm doing, what I was doing play. Yeah, because I think most of the time it's the info stuff is blast and consume, but it's not play. And so it took me a while to realize it was just some little, just reacting with feeling, but it's so I'm still not sure I'm doing it often. I'm seeing doing it here, but there is way too many filter. It's like I'm projecting. Okay, I want to do this, but then the sleep processing is coming, and I'm thinking, but how the person will react? This, and if the arborescence, if there is anything bad, I'll shut my mouth. So most of the time, it's doom. A smile, a laugh, it's the easy one that I am feminine FE, so it's pretty easy. But the rest, it's if I don't know well the person, I'm really afraid to say something that will hurt the other person. So, yeah. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
A follow-up. You talked about there being a filter before you actually kind of express the feelings in the moment. Do you ever feel like by the time you actually do get down to your play and the emotion has gone through the filter, do you ever feel like it's changed? Or is it still,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's maybe even close to annihilated by the blast. Yeah, if it's not, it's like it's so hard for me to say the raw feeling that I have on the moment without caring of how it will impact. I suppose it's the blast, how it will impact the other person, and the blast always win. Yeah, if I see something that he will have a risk to hurt, it's like I will not say it. So and to be fair, also, and a bit harsh with me, it's like I'm so judgmental inside. And it's I'm harsh with myself all the time. Like no bullshit allowed, no lie, no never. And so I have really fast a judgment of on other also, and not always nice. To be fair with myself, it's like I'm even more harsh inside of how I was harsh to the other person to say, yo, calm down. So it's never analyzing of analyzing. And so yeah. So it's never really exist fully. Yeah, too harsh. Yeah, I feel like a lot of time.
Yeah,
See,
that's interesting.
when I hear you say this, it feels like I'm talking to my best friend. I'm going, listen, bro, you're kind of sweating the details a bit too much. But obviously, that comes first to me. But what I find interesting is that you're like, okay, you have the idea of what you want to do, say, in the situation, but then you start playing a lot of chess. Because I know when I've done whatever you call sleep and such, you just everything else just kind of goes into like a like a flashbang grenade when it flashes and then all your senses are gone. That's kind of how it feels for me. So it's almost like hearing you going, okay, you're doing the equation and then you just forget about the real time world.
Yeah. I can't. It's like what I have described here. It's maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and then I doubt. Yeah. A good player really have to be on the spot. I feel like if you agree, Samuel. So if you delay too much, it's off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because if I can somehow not rehearse, reverse engineer whatever it is that I do, and if you factor in feeling responsible too, I remember as a young kid, I would feel very, very uneasy about interactions with people, always very nervous. And so then I would pay more attention of how to react with people. And I think unconsciously doing that, I get some type of a NI over time. And I'm a personal trainer, so I have to go and talk to people all the time. So then that kind of builds up. So reason why I say this is because when you talked about meeting a new person and you don't know kind of what to say, unconsciously in my head, there's a low level where I can talk from. And then like on the map, you start taking different routes and I go, okay, I can talk about this kind of stuff with you and this kind of stuff. But I also think linking to what you said about the judgmental side, I have judgmental thoughts as well, but I understand now it's more of a personal standard about myself that you're trying to throw on other people. And maybe because you're double DI, that personal standard is so ferocious in you that it just kind of shines its light on other people. So it hits on them more. But maybe because I have the FE twice and from tribe feedback, they're like, Sam, you're kind of very open because maybe it's OE, I'm just like relaxed and just wanting to take in. And when you just want to take in for the sake of taking in, you're not really saying it has to be a particular way, which probably makes me a bit more easy with the play.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I can see that I'm when I sometimes be capable to remove this filter and just play along, just also just say out loud what I feel and see that the reaction is way lesser on others that I was thinking of. Yeah, I realize it's a lot of what I'm imagining will happen. It's close to always false. Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're trying to control everything. In the layman's terms, you want to control everything, but I guess the OE side is like, yeah, man, see how it goes. But hey, I feel I'm addicted to it, so it's all like,
Yeah. Yeah. I like the practice also of the small talk. I think to like you say, it's the more you talk small talk with a lot of people, the more when you do it, you are sure it's easy talk for everyone,
yeah,
and how they will react. Like you said, is exactly this. I'm starting to see it a bit more with my work, where I have more coworker where before I was alone. So it's like I can see, okay, this person react like this with this small talk, this one like this. Okay, so this is allowed, this is not allowed, and it filter. It's like the crazy filter that I tried to do to the end. It's like
yeah.
slowing, building up together instead of just alone. Yeah. So way more play. Yeah.
I like
I've
to,
never.
I've always liked to, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, it's all right. It's just some F. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know if this will kind of help anyone with demon play, but I was just thinking about the kind of the things that you might be telling yourself when you're kind of confronted with doing demon play after you know the feelings in the moment have kind of gone through a filter. Because if I'm comparing with like what I do with Blast Last, it's like I tell myself that I can't, like the catastrophe is I can't say this thing because if I say it and it's bad, then the consequences of that are going to kind of last forever. But then when I speak to like Savior Blast, they'll be like, oh, sometimes people need to hear it twice, or sometimes you might reach someone who hasn't heard it before, those kind of things. And that helps them to be able to do the blast even when they have that thought of, you know, I can't say something bad and the consequences. So I'm just wondering what kind of things you might be telling yourself when you're thinking about doing play, and then in like the opposite of that, Sam, what kind of things would you be telling yourself that enable you to do the play even when you know that there might be consequences with that?
Mm.
Uh, if I understand that right, because I was making a protein shake at the same time. My bad. So effectively, it's like this. I'm gonna give the long whole story. I remember when I used to watch stuff on like YouTube and that, and they talk about you got to learn to be in the moment, be in the moment. And I was like, I'm trying to be in the moment. I don't know what that is. And then as I discovered OP and started thinking about sleep and how I perceived it, it was just sitting on the toilet, pondering the meaning of life. Like that's how it is for me in my head. And then I realized, oh, what for me, SC is just doing is like, it literally is being the moment where it's like, I can feel my skin, I can feel the sensations, I see things moving, I'm just always looking around. And so I kind of see it as like you're in the ring, you're a boxer and you're fighting someone and you don't know what they're going to do. You just respond. And that's kind of how I see play is, in the sense that because I'm open to the situation, and then there's the DE side is like, okay, I'm going to connect with a tribe somehow. And I know personally that everybody likes to feel good. If they feel good, I'm going to have a good environment. I'm going to have a good environment in the situation. But that FE is not just used for them to feel good. It also depends on what my own personal agenda is. If I'm talking to someone in the PT world, I'm going to be friendly with them, I'm going to talk, see what's going on, share some advice, and then I kind of like become a friend, and it helps me go along the sales line. So to me, play is just essentially think less and respond, but that only works if you have the sleep tactics in your head that you've sharpened a lot, which actually reminds me of another video, but I won't go into that, where it's you need to have all those skills kind of ready to be able to use them. But then if you don't have them ready, then you've got to just throw yourself into the SE experience and get embarrassed a lot of times and then go think, okay, where did that go wrong? Where did that go wrong? Because I've had a lot of interactions where 2 days, 3 days later, I start thinking about it and I'm going, oh, Sam, why did you say that? You kind of embarrassed. What are you doing? And then I'm like, okay, now I know how to be. So last thing is, yeah, I'll leave it there. I can keep going forever. It's talking about me in it, so I love it. So
It's good, man. Yeah, it's you make me think also. I'm talking a lot about the FE reaction of other or my emotional reaction, but I think at the end it's not this part that is fucking really my play. I always forget this pattern. But it's you to be able to do the ping back, you have to have the SE load, and I don't care about close to everything is close to boring like mad. If it's not in something that really interests me, I can do the effort for the other person, but it's not something that was coming from me before. So it's not like you talk about a place, a food or something, and I have also something to share. And so we can build on this. I will be more reactive of the feeling, yeah, purely of reading the feeling. I think that sometimes it's a lot like when there is a good vibe, I want to, how to say this, to share something also, but it's nothing in my bag to share. So and also sometimes also now I really put more effort on this, but before OP it was a lot like also the subject don't interest me also. So yeah, why build on it? I don't like when people are not authentic. Yeah. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. It sounds to me like you're not curious, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Um, yeah, true.
Yeah,
It's the reverse totally of this. From my point of view, it's more like why people care about all of this. I don't get it for most of it, but because I have stuff that really interests me to hell, and it's like I can talk about the stage with level 20,000, so I'll talk about the little crap. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's on me. Yeah, totally.
All right, sweet. Speaking of that, then I'm going to ask you the next question. So
Yeah.
basically, it's a two-part, three-part question. So have you been able to utilize play to level up by the tribe standards? If so, how did you think and feel? If not, how would you imagine it to go?
Yes.
That was a long question.
It's layered, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
No.
like
Yes.
a
No. Yeah.
questionnaire.
By Nairi. Yeah.
Yes, no,
And
yes,
I.
no.
Just to
20 mark
clarify,
question. You need references as well.
yeah, the reason why I asked him that is essentially his last function. No, yeah, his last function is DE side. So on the typical hero's journey, for him, it's the tribe giving him that kind of validation. Whereas me, it's myself. So that's kind of easier said than done. So it's not like, yeah, I think I did it right. It's kind of a little bit of a dance between him and the tribe.
I think. Yeah. I think it's. Yeah. In my new job, I'm in a new job since September of last year, and I've really pay attention to be here when there is small talk. Like when we have lunch together. Before this, I was a bit on other job on my side alone, and you never are really you don't have the same interaction when you are working and talking about work, and when you have easy time. And it's a change everything because it's noble. It has noble like man because you are here. Even if at first I was just consuming, just not because not a lot to share, but really interesting in what they were saying. And then I start to share, and people know you also more when you do this because I have been a bit on the other side when someone new come and isn't here when we have this little small talk. It's crazy how fast you will dislike the person. You will think, man, come just play a bit, yeah. And so since it's a real pleasure, this work is a real pleasure on the yeah, I'm just good with everyone. I can chat with no anxiety to anyone. The hard part for me, I think maybe I think again the play is not. It was still a huge improvement, a crazy one, but it's still the SE, the work that I'm doing on the right now. I don't like what I'm doing, and so this part, it's the end of the hero journey will be this part. It's like I do like mad to be so positive, and I'm so aware. I have done so much other job that was so crappy, so the SE is way better. But comparing to what my NI would like to, but it's close to will be impossible in one life. So my NI, I have to slow it down. It's so much frustration. Yeah. But yeah, it would be a good example.
Good answer. I find it interesting because it's like, I'm like, wait a minute, do my ears deceive me? He's literally talking about play and sleep like together. That's what you're trying to do. Whereas your sleep is the one and the play is the two. Because in my work situation, it feels like the opposite. Now I'm like, okay, I've got to stop playing around as much and I'm trying to like follow my plan. And now I'm like, oh, goddamn tribe, go away so I can do my stuff. But then I'm like, no, you can't do that. You have to juggle the both where I still get to be in the moment, but then still have my NI goal, so to speak.
You could probably disappear when it's the official play moment, and no one will blame you because you was already everywhere on the play, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Already.
yeah.
So
But
it's just bonus. Yeah.
remembering that I see that. Yeah. So using the car analogy again on the gas tank, I'm very meticulous with the play level gas tank. So well, I wouldn't say meticulous, but I'm sensitive to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I see one person on the gym floor. I haven't talked to him in like 3 days. I've got to go talk to him now. And then now it's a big, long ass talk. That's how I think in my head. But then afterwards, I feel good because I'm doing my saviors and such. But yeah, it's just interesting to see it on the back end where the sleep is the savior and the play is there, but we're both trying to do what I would assume the rest do with the energy coins in the middle.
Yeah. I have this on the reverse with the sleep. It's like I'm putting extra energy on what is important to process. Then I remember this one was never really processed fully. So I will put a bit of time on this and on this and on this. And yeah, there is a layer of hierarchy of what is really important and what is not. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, but it's inside. Yeah.
As we had to jump in and jump out for some technical issues, I asked Antoine, do you actually look at the ladies' faces while we're here? And it was more so not just looking at pretty things, FE for you, but it was more so the case of, because I have the double DE, I've noticed that even when I'm like training in the gym and another place and I just want to go into the zone and not talk to anyone, the moment someone like pops in my vicinity, it's like I'm ready, just like looking at them like a meerkat. So I guess with you, it's more so like your head is down in the dumps and you definitely ain't coming out like an ostrich.
Yeah, it's yeah. Generally, you have more my audio attention than my eyes attention. I don't know why, but it's maybe I'm seeing too much. Yeah, when I'm watching someone, it's more. I wonder sometimes if it's not even the gathering of the blast. Also, I'm checking your pattern and
I'm overloading
Yeah.
your SE.
But yeah, the audio one is really fast. The visual one, yeah, I'm doing also. But more, it feels like more when I want to check a reaction than yeah. So it's maybe more the blast, so still than purely gathering for the sake of gathering. Yeah, it's more. I have a presumption. Maybe let's see how the person react, and so I'm watching. But it's
Okay.
yeah, less
Do you ever
often,
get,
yeah.
do you ever get surprised by people's reactions? Sometimes, like you weren't expecting that, or you didn't anticipate that, or
Rarely, because I suppose it's like yeah, when it's easy to do the play or your demon when it's the easy one. And since I'm trying to avoid the bad play, generally when someone is when there is a bad play, it's not directing to me because I have pay attention to this not happen. Yeah. So rarely surprised. And when I see drama on the outside with other person, it's more like I will like put a little stamp. Okay, so this person has react to this like this. It's probably the NI blast again. Yeah, and it's pretty non-judgmental. When I'm not when I'm not personally imply in it, it's extremely unjudgmental. Yeah. Yeah.
So what is
Right.
it about the play that would shock you? So if it's not you're surprised by people's reactions, what is it that would be like traumatizing for you? Is it the fact that you
Why
have to
is
jump
it a
outside?
demon? It doesn't make any sense. No.
Sorry?
It's the honestly, it's really the difficulty to connect, to be interest. Sometimes I wonder if it's not the consume above also that is a huge wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe if I was doing stuff instead of listening to someone, the play will be more maybe childish and in a nice way. Where here it's and probably since the start it was just consume and blast. I'm not sure I have done play maybe with a smile and some laugh, but not that much. But it's yeah, it's still something hard for me to really acknowledge. It's the non-necessity to connect. It's like I can do it, like and make the person hyper comfortable, but it always feel like it's for the other person, and maybe if I see the person is good, then I'm feeling good, but it's never a need. It's like if the connection don't happen, okay, no problem.
That's a good feeling, man, to not care.
If I see the person that want to connect, I will answer it. But it's more I will not maybe be the one that create voluntarily this situation. Yeah. I will more follow if someone have started. I will not be surprised, Samuel, that you are really good to be the ones that start the making a good vibe together. Yeah, connecting.
Basically, it isn't your responsibility to get the
He's
chemical.
a good vibe generator. Yeah.
Vibe generator.
Yeah, like
a good vibe generator.
If everyone is quiet and no one really, everyone is only on a side, you will maybe do something. It could be also the blast. Not sure. So together with the tracks.
Yeah, it sounds like your circuit board is just diminished on that one, because to me it's like, oh, now it's awkward. Might have to do something. Whereas
to be fair, it's like I'm seeing it's awkward, and it's more like what can I do to make it less awkward? And everything that I'm thinking about it will make it more awkward. So it's like I'll helping the person but just shutting my mouth.
That's interesting actually, because I think I can also see how the you're missing the SE side, because even if you have the theoretical data, you don't have the experience. Do you know what I mean? Hence the phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So like there's certain things that I can do because I know, even though the end comes in, but I've experienced it and I know, okay, you got to kind of do it this way. So then if you do it, because you've never gone, okay, you're going to say something random, but you don't know what degree of how you should say it. You just know that's the overall where you should go with it if you have also feminine N.
Yeah. But I'm curious, Sam, it's like when there is an awkward moment, what do you feel? Why do you feel the responsibility to make it change?
Because God said you're screwed, Sam. You're double FE. um, okay, so if I talk unconsciously, it just comes across like, oh, I need to make sure that this person feels okay. When they don't feel okay, I feel like I've butchered the 10 commandments of FE, and now I feel like crap, especially when they feel bad, especially if it's linked to me. If it's not linked to me, oh, thank God, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I've done something wrong, it eats me up on that side. And then also unconsciously in my head, I'm like, okay, life is tough. Everyone's going through their own bull crap stuff at the same time. So I want to do my best to ensure people have the chemicals to have the strength to go on in the endeavors that they were doing. That's what's personally playing in my head, which you could go on a macro scale, is just tribe above self. But I'm like, maybe because I'm double OE as well, everything is chaotic. I don't know where my keys are. I don't know where my wallet is. I don't understand how to read the map. So I've got to boost you up so you can go on your own endeavors. And that's how it unconsciously plays out in my head.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm wonder how much it is the lies that the brain are feeding ourselves with our demons. Like awkwardness for me is not a big deal, and I don't think it is for Sam either. But it is a big deal for you. Like you want to avoid that. This is and if you play, you might make it a quarter, but big. And so you need to shut up. So you are just, on your code, like, no, don't play, and like, but it's the same with all our demons, like our brain are like, you're not going there by a lot of various messages, like you're not allowed to go there. This is too much, too big a stuff and stuff. But if we understand and we switch, we put a question mark to that those sentences that our brain are feeding us, like, I might make it more awkward, but it's worth it. It's the experiment of it. It's worth it, and even if it goes more awkward, then it's a more experimental field, and you will gather more data and you will gather more easiness in a lot of situations. By exposing yourself, you are growing, but all our we don't want to expose ourselves to our demons. It's really what I hear somehow. Like,
yeah. It's on point, Manu, but it's also
and you did the work by exposing yourself to the small talk at first, and then you gain some confidence and stuff. And I know you changed work and went into a very physical work.
Yeah.
And yeah, you took this exposure path, like, fuck it, I'm going to expose myself. And you did gain a lot by doing that. And I think it's very interesting.
It's weird still. It's like I'm better, I'm connecting, and so I'm making others feel good when they are around me. And I'm getting a bit the need to feel also good around them. It's where I was starting with. It's like how harsh it is inside, and I know it's crazy, crappy to say this out loud, but it's true. It's like I'm not interested to connect with close to anyone. It's crazy because for me connecting it has to go really deep. maybe it's a bit of bad nuances on the wording, but I want really connection when you can talk about the harsh stuff. What not the shallow talk, the ones that how do you feel when it's really hard? How is it going in your life? Every problem that you have, everything. It's like you can remove all your boundary and you will be feeling good. And of course, you can be like this with everyone. It would be crazy. It will be really dangerous also to expose yourself that much. But if I see that the relation can go that deep, it's like yeah.
So,
Why bother?
but you are really like what Samuel thought. So you were really looking at the play regarding the FE. Like, I want the deepest connection. If it's outside, it has to be deep and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you put some pressure on the play, on the SE, like, what is this person can fit me in her world? It will be a new world because it's not yours, but it will be hers and or his. And trying to maybe go into this depth of understanding the information, the observations, the new observation, like someone will be passionate, I don't know, about trees. Just try to have like, let's go, even if I'm awkward, I'm
If
asking.
the person I love when people are sharing their essay, if they really like it. If I don't like it at all personally, but they like it, I can empathize, like to help become you, and it's great. But it's when the person talk about some random essay and don't feel like really they are also themselves really interesting in it. It's like just they are sharing one random big bag of something. This one it's like if you don't even bother, I will never bother. Yeah. But it's I see, yeah. This one honestly, Manu, on paper it sounds right on point, but I'm not sure I will be capable, even in my entire life, to really be interesting in stuff that I can do it through the FE of the person, but if the person they don't like it and they share it, it's like
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
was just trying to disconnect a little bit from a person, but try to connect the play to things, new
Yeah.
things. That's it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
go
yeah.
on and do some skateboard and do
Good.
some, I don't know.
Good triangulation, man. It's like, yeah, don't care. I have done some. It's what is the name? It's windsurfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where the
Yeah.
yeah. So this one was so cool. First time of my life that a sport make me feel so like addicted. Climbing was a bit like this for me, but just a bit. But this one is like, so cool. And when I'm saying this, it's like from my point of view, it's like everything I don't care. Even when I'm trying to interest in the thing, it's like, yeah, but it's crap. And I see everyone that is caring about it. And from my point of view, it's a lot of pain because I'm not thinking dumbasses or something like this, close to never. It's more like I'm missing this. It's just sad. Yeah. They enjoy every little moment of their day. And for me, there is one stuff that is the ultimate bag of essays that I want to do on work, on philosophy, on connection, and everything else feels like meh in comparison. And so, yeah, it's a lot of the day that is really not good. Yeah. Most of the time I'm or bad. Yeah. So it's harsh on the feeling side. Yeah.
Well, I think the good thing to remember is that it's kind of like you don't have to be perfect at it as long as you're cool with how your life's working out. You just got to do a little bit. Like the thoughts that I've been having in my head, I was like, before I wanted the sleep to be perfect. Then I realized, wait, hold on a minute, mate. You like to dance this way. You just got to do enough to cover the corners. That's it.
With this new job, it's like I have finally done my like Dave is saying the little the minimum of the demon, so your life
Yeah.
is good. So it's like I feel most of the time same badly as before, but now I have a clean work. I doing great with my coworker. I have my little girl. I'm taking care of her, my wife, and so it's a bit like inside. I still have close to the same pain, but at least my
Yeah.
the world around me is not adding in it because I'm taking care of it. So my next stuff will be to like where I'm doing the SE. I will try to by discovering a new one or making happen in the NI that I want. But I working on this. What is hard for me, it's
Yeah.
if I go on the NI one, it's like I can make it happen. It's like making a plane, long plane in 10 years, okay. But it's like I'm seeing still 10 years of SE that I hate. And this is so hard on the mind. But at least it gives me a bit of hope. And I try to stay open to opportunities. It's like in my work, I'm doing like, I'm a welder since 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it was like a shitty job in my mind. And so no expectation to make it feel good on it. And I was so positive at it that I was close to love it on some area.
Mm-hmm.
And I have keep improve on this. And so this maybe one day will make me fully pleasant. The work right now it was way better than the one years ago, like 10 times better. But it's not still at where I want to to have. Who knows?
Oh man. I guess, well, that wraps it up. But just from what I'm going to say is that it kind of shows you that there is no special type, especially for me, looking at cherishing what you have as a norm and vice versa. Because I think, okay, I've always thought this that for some particular reason, if regardless of your religion or your faith or how you think the universe came to be, the human brain right now can't handle all the animals in one go. It has to sacrifice one. And I'm like, we've all heard it. Which one would you sacrifice? Okay, if I have plain sleep in the middle, I'm going to lose the info. And I'm like, okay, for some particular reason, that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Just do your homework enough to don't mess up the last animal. Because as I'm watching you, I'm like, I don't know if it's just naturally that I get on with you personally, because there could be types like you which I don't get on with. But everything that you're saying is like, okay, I know what he's doing there. I know how he's thinking. I'm like, oh, that's how I kind of manifest it more in myself. So I do think it's kind of beneficial when you do meet someone who talks the way you talk, but just 1, 2, 4, 5 rather than 1, 2, 6, 5. You get where I'm going.
Yeah.
So that's my part. I've always liked talking to you, and I think this is very productive in seeing both of the opposite ends, and also for the viewers watching what it looks like when you don't have the energy animals in the middle and how much you're trying to balance them. Because I think that the rest of the ladies having the energy animals in the middle, they're like, animalistically, it's not really that much of a big deal. So, what do you ladies have anything to share?
Not sure, but I just want to say thank you to both of you. That was a really interesting conversation. Sam, your questions were really nice, and it was lovely to get an insight of how things are for you, Antoine. So I really enjoyed that episode. So thank you both.
Thanks for the invitation.
I guess.
Yeah, thank you guys for this conversation. It was very interesting, and being not all full demon play, but still demon play, it was very interesting to have your perspective on all of this. Plays hard.
By the way, if I can end on this, just for you, Samuel, if one day I can drill, but like drilling, you
What?
your
Drill.
what is the word? It's DRILL
Drill, like a drill.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see.
You see, I have some question that will be pretty personal, but will make you process like mad, maybe. But I'm so afraid.
I
Right.
want to hear
Yeah.
what the
So
question is.
interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, Emmanuel had to disappear. But before we wrap up, Antoine has a question for me, which he didn't want to ask me, but now we've decided. Let's see how it goes. So Antoine, you have the floor.
Okay, so basically the idea is like it was coming from reversing. Since we have the reverse type, it's like I'm doing crazy amount of processing that I never have experienced in real life. So it's like it's like I'm processing for the sake of processing, for the sake of processing. I'm doing nothing out of it. And so I was thinking with you in the reverse, it's like you are expanding energy for expanding energy for expanding energy. And then I was thinking, what is the work that he is doing? And pretty fast, I was thinking, what have you said? Sorry.
No, you said what is the what that I'm doing?
What is the work that you are doing?
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
I was starting to connect the dot pretty straightforwardly, possibly. I was thinking, so now that I have a work in a physical job, it's like how much I have more energy. Thanks to Kendrick for these tips, I have really make it happen. And if you are playlist, go do something physical. You will never. You will have so much energy. You have no idea. But anyway, so I can imagine that the more you do your work in the physical side, like mad also Samuel, it's like pure physical. You have so much energy. And you teach others to have so much energy, to expand more energy, to expand more energy. And I was thinking, but on what and for why, basically. It was coming back to why.
What's your question?
Why do you expand so much energy to have even more energy?
Oh, because
To
I'm an
expand
idiot.
more energy.
Expend energy because I'm an idiot. That's what I would say. But I guess to answer your question, with what I spend, what I spend processing nowadays is to have harmony in my life. And the more I narrow down things, the more I get more efficient with what I'm doing. So, for example, PT wise, I'm like, okay, these are the specific times I want to get clients in. These are the times I'm going to walk the gym floor. These are the times that I'm going to play with people to get people in the certain areas that I want. Then when they're working with me and it goes onto the systems that I use, okay, these are the base templates that I have with them, the basic templates for everyone, and then they get adjusted according to whatever their specific situation in. These are the check-in times that they have to go. These are the videos that they need to watch, so I don't have to keep telling them this, so they keep watching those videos. Once they understand it, then we can move on to the next thing. So instead of me running around and doing that all for them, I have it more systematically laid up, so that gives me more time. Because right now in my life, I'm like, okay, I can see how chaotic my life is, and then if I meet someone and other things with family such, I won't have the energy to deal with that because I'm just wasting energy all the time. So what goes into my head is the same question over and over again. What do I want? Is that really what I want? What are the main principles in my health, wealth, and love that I need to focus on to get me going? Oh, you want to do all these things, but you need to slow down. You need to let some of these other houses burn first by focusing on these. So now I'm like, okay, if you couldn't do anything and you had to have a few things needed for you to survive in the desert jungle, never heard of that before, but it would be, okay, this, that, and this. All the rest, you can F them off. But those ones you need to focus on, and you need to do it with grace, because if you do it with grace, you'll create more space, basically. So that's what my head's been going over and over again, how to make everything so more systematized, but then I start processing how it works for me, how it's going to work with my clients, because I have to get them from A to B and then do it in a way that still takes in that they can build that adherence over time.
Okay. Damn, it was so much an answer. I wasn't prepared for it. But it does it feel? But it's great. You have answering only with the NT, and it's weird because same time.
Yes.
Yes, no, and a good one. But in my mind, if I understand the focus, so want to systematize, of course, everything. But in my mind, it's like I will be okay to expend that much energy on all of this only if I really like mad what I'm doing. And I was guessing, I was supposing you feel super good when you are doing your work for you and for the other person. Because if not, I was thinking it's just madness from my point of view. Yeah.
From that,
Yeah.
how do I explain this? This is how I see it. There is a natural feeling good chemicals when I'm with people like you guys. I'm loving it. But that's just also what I feel like it's like the parasite in me that wants that. Yeah. Because technically I want to go and do all this organizing stuff. And then when I'm focusing on something, the OE brain will switch. Like my greatest nemesis was like Instagram and social media because I use it a little bit. But now I've gotten better where the max I use it in a day is like 20 minutes. And that's a big deal to me. So I feel good from this stuff, but then in the back of my head now, I'm like, oh man, Sam, you know the plan, you know what's going to happen. You got to move from here. You're addicted. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move. But then I've got to do enough where I'm getting my sugar fix, where I can carry on. Because the more when I do get into the rhythm of the OI way, afterwards I'm like, oh my god, and then I just want to have a massive OE pizza. So I'm just trying to.
yeah. I feel you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so even you with Play Savior, it's not just full of love and joy when you are on your day.
No,
it's a lot of just responsibility and
for the people, they get all the love. Personally, for myself, I'm harsh MF to myself. Like that's how it is. But because with the feminine DE, it's like I've got to uplift you because the program in my head is like I'm gonna unfilter it, and it's always in context. When I hear people moaning, I'm like, you need to shut up, yeah, because do you not realize how on the spectrum of life, how blessed you are? There's people who don't have food, this, that, even myself, and you have first world problems. It's like, dude, man, realize how good you've got it and fight because the universe doesn't owe you anything whatsoever. So that's how I kind of see my head, but I can't say that to people. So I've got
TI, it's not good for to say out loud. Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting. It's maybe just an FE thing. So it feels like the responsibility for the good vibe is at first for other and not for yourself, even when you are savior or demon. Yeah, looks like
it's just what I need to get done.
And the rest is cold and analytical. Like you have the answer that you have given me at first, it was so analytical. Yeah.
Yeah, you're flirting with me now, man.
Yeah.
Guys, you literally said my NT is getting there. I'm like,
clearly, yeah. It's also a bit. I was hoping a bit that it was you was feeling less pain with Play Savior, but it's maybe it just we don't have FI. Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is this: everyone knows this. Observer things are not real. Decider things are not real. Our play and sleep is not real. I started thinking, wait a minute, these play sleep guys in the middle are always dancing with that, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be for the rest of my life. So there you go.
Yeah.
And that's that, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Our next episode is coming soon, which will have the next guest on. So stay tuned to find out. Peace out, guys.
Bye. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm joking. Hello.
But it's such a judgmental question, and I hope you
Oh, God. So yeah, curious question, Antoine. Have you paid attention to the faces of the ladies here?
Yes, they look focused.
I still have some bad chemicals to come out, but we'll talk about that later.
All right, cool. Okay, responsibilities. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom as well.
Sure,
Yes,
sure.
because the group is doing it, and